Joining us now is Electric Last Mile Solutions CEO James Taylor. Thank you for being here and congratulations. So why was now the right time to take Electric Last Mile Solutions public?
Well, if you look at the market, the e-commerce, let's say, explosion and the huge amount of growth, both pre-COVID and now as we've all adapted to that, has put a huge amount of stress on the delivery business. But in addition, it's time. The electric vehicle industry is also transforming very, very quickly. Years and years ago, it was a little bit early for the adaptation. And now all of the infrastructure is in place that we need. All of the pieces are ready for wild adoption. You see General Motors making major moves, of course, Ford announcing that as well. Big companies like FedEx announcing their quick transition to electric vehicles, states taking mandates like California, large public companies with their ESG goals. So all of that put together has created a large amount of demand for our product.
And why did you decide to go the SPAC route versus the traditional IPO route?
Well, as you well know, it's a very short, I'd say pretty strenuous process. But at the end, here we are with all the capital required to execute our business plan. I'd say in a relatively short period of time. We have a very strong shareholder base, good SPAC partners. And now we're able to get back and focus all of our attention on execution and some of the traditional modes. The CEOs or senior staff do a lot of fundraising, taking their kind of eye off the ball. But now we're solely focused on execution.
And how will this merger help your company accomplish its long-term goals?
Well, our business plan, Nevis, is different than some of the other EV startups in that we're using behind me here in Indiana an existing plant. So the capital requirements to transfer that plant into production are very small. And also we're using existing, proven, reliable, also OEM platforms, systems, and parts, allowing us to launch our vehicle very quickly this fall, in fact, with very, very low capital requirements. So it's a different business approach. It's a unique business approach compared to the others. And from other vehicle programs I've launched, other new startups, that's going to reduce our risk of launch and also reduce the risk to the shareholders.
Also, the electric vehicle marketplace is getting more and more crowded. So how does your company work to differentiate itself from the competitors?
Yes, it is getting crowded. And I think that's a good way because it supports the space and also attracts all of the suppliers that have to invest in this as well. But in our particular case, we'll be launching our first vehicle from our plant here into the Class 1 space. It's the small delivery vans. And in that area, there are no competitors today. There are only gas vehicles. There are also no announced vehicles that we're aware of in the next year or two. So we'll be the sole player in that area. And not only will we be producing the hardware from this plant, in addition, we're also, as our name says, a solutions company. So that means that as we deliver these vehicles to our customers, it will also include a full customized data suite, connected data suite for their specific end use. And also the hardware we call customization or upfitting that's also purpose-built for them. So as it leaves this plant, they have a complete turnkey solution.
Is that the reason why you chose to work on a delivery van as your first vehicle? Because there's not that much competition in that area?
Yeah, it's a delivery van is by far the largest part of the market, but we're also seeing multiple use cases. We think of just Verizon, AT&T, Comcast, these kind of service vans. We have marketing companies that are using them. Of course, they want electrification to be a part of their external brand. We're also seeing university campuses, airport complexes. There's so many usages of these vehicles where having it zero emissions and electric, again, not only achieves their mandates, reduce their cost. If you compare this vehicle to a traditional gas vehicle, it's actually 30% less operating costs, so it's good for their business as well.
Would you tell us more about some of the features of the urban delivery?
Yeah, it's really, I think, a perfect application because the usage of these vehicles, given it's small, and going short distances for its duty cycle each day is a great spot for electrification. So the total range of our vehicles is about 150 miles. But the typical usage of these vehicles is somewhere between 40 to 60 miles per day. So people don't have to worry about so-called range anxiety. And from a price standpoint, it lists actually for $32,500. But after the $7,500 credit, it really lands at $25,000 net cost to the customer. So as I said, that allows it to land right at top of the gas competitors at cost parity.
James, and you intend to start delivering this very first vehicle in the third quarter of this year, with plans for it to be widely available next year. Are you on track to meet these deadlines?
Yes, we are. As I mentioned, we're coming into this existing plant as of today, and it had been prior to us converted already to an electric vehicle plant. So the plant is pretty much, say, ready to go. All we need to do is rehire a small staff to get going. And as we go through the fall, we'll be going through what we call a soft launch or early launch to ensure that we've got the quality and, of course, the normal production gates in place, and then ramping up with full acceleration next year.
What are some of the major challenges that you're facing right now in the field of EVs?
Well, I think you're aware of the overall commerce situation these days. Our biggest challenge, frankly, is on the supply side and what's currently going on in international freight and the ports and our ability to bring in some of our parts from the overseas area. Fortunately, we're not in the chip business. We have a very low requirement as far as our vehicles actually need for chips, so we're in good shape in that area. I think there's going to be some strong tension in the battery space, but we have a long-term contract aligned with a very large supplier, CATL, to protect us for the first couple of years of launch. And so I think we're down to blocking and tackling. It's a part of the process I've been through numerous times through several launches, but there's thousands of small details that have to get executed. Everybody has to be on the same page and getting each one of those done, and that's where we're at right now.
Sounds great.